Yo, it's your boy Luap coming back at it with another video. In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and review episode 56 of the Pokemon Journeys anime. I want to give a nice little preface that I watched all of this in Japanese, and my Japanese isn't perfect, but I do think I understood the general gist of everything that happened. I will also just, give you guys my opinions and kind of list out everything that happened throughout the episode, and then give it my nice little rating at the end of it. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get started on this episode. So the episode started with Ash and Go fighting with Leeks. Of course, how convenient. This episode we knew was focused on Farfetch, so they had to start off fighting with Leeks. And Farfetch recalls about the time that he lost to Gallade, and that's why he's training to be stronger. Because of course he lost and he wants to, improve to be able to fight him once again. And I also want to say that this is completely unedited and just unscripted, so, sorry if I say lots of ums, but I just kind of want to do this like podcasty style. So then after, the professor's assistant shows him like a nice little pamphlet that he found of Wickstrom from the Elite Four and Kalos, the Steel one, is having like a nice little training thing. And I don't know if they mentioned it, that it's like having to deal with, helping the bond of Pokemon and trainer. I don't know if they said that or not. It's kind of, I guess, implied because that's the whole thing that it was about. But that's what happens. And as soon as they hear that, from across the side of the entire laboratory, Scyther just comes freaking flying in. And Scyther wants to join in, and Go says it's okay because Scyther hasn't been in battles recently. So they go ahead and head to Kalos, where they meet Wickstrom. And Wickstrom is a cool dude. I really like his character. He's a really strong, man, but he also has a weak spot. So like when Go, answered him in correct Japanese, he was very moved. He starts crying, and he just cries whenever, he sees a nice bond between Pokemon and trainer. So they start the challenge where, you have to go through a bunch of 3 challenges. That's what it ends up being. And they have to get to the goal in order to win a Night Medal. And they get dressed in armor to challenge it. And Scyther literally looks like a Velociraptor to me, so I can't really unsee it. So the challenge begins, and Pikachu can't join them because this is really just focused on Ash and his Farfetch'd, and Go and his Scyther, and just growing their bonds together. So they're running, and they see Probopass. And I actually just want to mention, I didn't even know Probopass was part Steel type. I actually genuinely thought he was all Rock type for all these years, so I was actually surprised about that. And yeah, so I don't really know what move he uses, but as they're running, Probopass just uses like a move to hold them down, and they just have to break through it. I don't really know how that has to deal with, increasing their bond together. I have no idea. In fact, they probably mentioned it, I just couldn't catch what they had mentioned. And whatever, of course, that goes on without any problem. And they go to the second challenge, which is like in a dark maze basically. And there's a really cute Litwick there, and I think it's very cute and just so adorable. And yeah, so they keep going, and they get to a dead end. They get, cut off, and of course they get to split up, for convenience sake. And yeah, so at one point, an Escavalier pops out of the thing, out of the wall, not of the thing, gotta be more specific there. And he goes to attack Go, but Scyther blocks the way and protects him, and then the Escavalier kind of goes away, and this ends up being very important for later. And then it pans out to Ash and his Farfetch'd, and Farfetch is way ahead, just walking with like no paying attention to Ash. Like I haven't really seen many of the older episodes, so I don't know if they don't have a good connection or bond or anything. I do know from a lot of other people's comments that just he hasn't gotten a lot of screen time with Farfetch, right? And so the Dedenne pops up and shocks Ash, and Farfetch didn't even bat an eye. He kept walking. Then Doublade pops out and tries to attack Farfetch, but Ash protects it. And again, Farfetch doesn't even pay attention. And at that point, Wickstrom is watching them through the cameras, and I feel like he probably mentions like, oh man, like, I have no idea what's wrong with this Farfetch or something. So they get to a dead end, Farfetch breaks the wall, like a G, just smashes that, like, Farfetch for smash, I don't know. And then at one point, Farfetch falls through a hole, and he's holding on for dear life, and Ash picks him up. But I feel like that didn't really help their connection much. But then, at that time, his Leek falls down, and Ash jumps in to save the Leek, and Farfetch goes down to get it and saves him up, right? And basically Ash tells him like, yo, this is the most important thing to you, so it's important, that's why I saved it, I risked everything for that, right? So whatever, they keep walking, of course Farfetch stays there for a second to think of what happened, and they finally get to the end and they reach the goal, or so they thought. But there was still one more challenge, and the challenge was they just have to go to the locked door and open it, and there's a cute little clef key there that they have to get the key from, and Wickstrom and Aegislash of course are in their way to get this final thing. So it starts off with them just going like all the way in. They're trying their best, and they're trying to fight Aegislash and Wickstrom, but they just can't do it. All four of them versus the two of them, and they just can't do it. They're fighting with swords, but it's like plastic swords. It's not a real sword, so Wickstrom is just fighting them no problem. And then this goes on for a minute or two, and then they decide like, oh, we need to change plans because this isn't working. Farfetch'd and Ash decide to take on Wickstrom and Aegislash, and Go and Scyther are in charge of getting the key. So it works out where Farfetch is battling Aegislash and Ash is fighting Wickstrom. And then at one point when the Scyther and Go are going to Klefki, Klefki uses a move and Scyther gets torn up by it, and Go goes ahead and with his sword kind of like wins it away. I don't know how I can say that. And then Scyther's like kind of confused, like, thank you for helping me, and Go's like, oh no, I'm just repaying you from earlier, we both have to protect each other. So Wickstrom of course takes note of this and gets really happy. And then Aegislash is fighting Farfetch, and there's no it's just pretty dead even, and Ash is getting overpowered by Wickstrom and he's put against a corner. And then of course Farfetch notices that Ash is getting torn to a corner and starts thinking about how Ash saved his leak. Literally, who knows anything else that Ash has done for Farfetch, but all he cared about was that he saved his leak. And so Farfetch turns away from the Aegislash and gets slashed in the process, no pun intended there, and protects Ash from a hit from Wickstrom. And in that very same second, Go and Scyther come back with the key. So they win the challenge, they go to the top, Wickstrom gives them their Knight Medal, and it's all good. And everybody got kind of debated because right after that, Wickstrom offers Go the chance to evolve Scyther in a Scizor, and he takes it, and now Go has a Scizor, which I love Scizor, one of my favorite Pokemon, no problems with that. But it's pretty funny because I remember everybody, me included, thought that with the episode preview and all the things lining up, that for sure, Farfetch would evolve into Surfetch this episode, and it just didn't happen. And, it makes sense, Farfetch is with Wickstrom, Wickstrom is like a knight. It just made perfect sense, but it just didn't end up happening, and it was a pretty good fake out in my opinion. That's no Pokemon intended again, sorry. Well, to give it my rating, I mean 5, let's just say 5 is average. 1 is horrible and 10 is like, wow, 10 out of 10, I would watch this again. I mean, that's what 10 literally means. I would give this episode a 6, it wasn't crazy good and it wasn't boring, I guess. It wasn't boring by any means. It's just nothing that I would ever go back to and watch again. I mean, if it popped up, maybe I'd watch it, but nothing crazy. My favorite part about this episode, of course, was the cute Litwick. That was probably my favorite part of this episode, just because, me personally, this is my opinion, the whole arc of, Ash saving his leak, and then all of a sudden, he has a newfound trust for him after having no trust for him, or showing any signs of that prior, is kind of cheesy. And it was very predictable that after he was going to help Ash. And I don't know, that's just me. Of course it is a kid's show and I'm not a kid and I'm just trying to reason it, but it's just my opinion. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. I'll be trying to be the first one to post anime reviews on YouTube. I don't know if I can, at least in English, right? And yeah, subscribe for more of these and more Pokemon discussions once a week. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.